something changed. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but at some point in the last 10 years, the rules of money quietly shifted. Things that used to be perfectly reasonable ways to spend your money, normal, middle-class, respectable purchases, got turned into financial traps. Engineered, deliberate, beautifully marketed traps designed to extract as much money from you as possible while giving you just enough value that you don't quite notice what's happening. And the worst part? Most of it feels completely normal. It feels like just life. Everyone around you is doing it. The commercials make it look smart. The monthly payment sounds manageable. And by the time you do the actual math, you've already handed over thousands of dollars you didn't need to spend. That stops today. We're going through 10 things, 10 specific, common, widely accepted ways people spend money that are no longer worth it. Some of them never were. Some of them used to make sense and don't anymore. All of them are draining the middle class quietly, one auto pay at a time. Before we get into the list, I want to give you two concepts that explain almost everything we're about to talk about. The first one is shrinkflation. You already know this one, even if you didn't know the name for it. It's when a company doesn't raise the price of their product. They just make the product smaller. Your bag of chips that used to be 16 ounces is now 13 ounces. Same price, same shelf, same bag actually, just with more air in it. The price didn't go up. You just got less. And it's not just chips. It's happening across groceries, household products, personal care items, quietly, constantly, with zero announcement. They're betting you won't notice, and statistically, most people don't. The second concept is the subscription economy. Somewhere along the way, every company on earth realized that a recurring monthly charge is the single most profitable way to sell anything. Because humans are extraordinarily bad at canceling things. We sign up, we forget, we tell ourselves, we'll deal with it next month, and then we don't. A $12.99 charge barely registers on a bank statement. But 12 of those charges, that's $155 a month. Nearly $1,900 a year, quietly leaving your account every month, like clockwork. These two things, shrinkflation and the subscription trap, are the backdrop for everything on this list. Keep them in your head as we go through this. Let's start with the big one. You walk into a dealership, you've done a little research. You know roughly what you want. And a very friendly, very well-dressed person sits you down and asks you one question before anything else. Before price, before interest rate, before any actual numbers. What monthly payment are you comfortable with? And most people answer honestly, oh, probably around $550 a month. And right there, the negotiation is over. You just lost. Because from that moment on, the salesman's entire job is not to get you the best deal on the car. His job is to engineer a deal that hits $550 a month, regardless of what you end up paying in total. And the way you hit a comfortable monthly payment on a $48,000, $50,000, $55,000 vehicle, you stretch the loan to 84 months, 7 years. You are financing a car for 7 years, an asset that starts losing value the moment you drive it off the lot. By year 2, your car might be worth $30,000, but you still owe $38,000 on it. You are upside down, owing more than the thing is worth, and you are completely stuck. Do the actual math on a $45,000 car at 7.5% interest over 84 months. Your payment is around $609. Sounds manageable, right? Your total paid by the end? Over $51,000. For a car that 7 years later might be worth $12,000. You paid $51,000 for something worth $12,000. And the whole time, it felt reasonable because it's only $600 a month. That is not a car purchase. That is a wealth extraction device with heated seats. The rule is simple and non-negotiable. If you cannot afford a car on a 48-month loan, a 4-year loan, you cannot afford that car. Full stop. The answer is not a longer loan. The answer is a less expensive car. Buy used, buy reliable, buy something you can pay off in 4 years, and then drive for another 4 while you stack the money you're no longer spending on payments. Wealthy people are not out there signing 7-year car loans. They're driving paid-off vehicles and quietly building net worth, while the rest of us finance our way into looking successful. I want to be upfront about something. Food delivery apps are genuinely convenient. On a Tuesday night when you've worked a 10-hour day, and you have exactly zero interest in cooking anything, the idea of tapping a button and having food appear at your door is a beautiful thing. I understand the appeal completely, and that's exactly why this one is so dangerous. Let's do the math that the app very deliberately makes difficult for you to see all at once. You want a burger, a $15 burger at a decent local place. Straightforward. So you open the app. The burger is $15. Fine. Then there's the delivery fee. Call it $4. Then the service fee, which is usually somewhere between $2 and $4 and is never fully explained. Then the small order fee, if you're not spending enough. Then the suggested tip, which the app defaults to somewhere between 18 and 25% on the inflated total, not just the food. Then there's the optional subscription fee for the delivery service itself, which they've been nudging you toward for months. By the time that $15 burger arrives at your door, you've spent $31, $32, sometimes $35 for one burger that you had to go downstairs to get from the lobby anyway. And I'm not just making up a dramatic example. That math plays out almost exactly like that, on almost every order, on almost every platform. The apps are architecturally designed to obscure the total cost until the very last screen, right before you confirm, when you're already mentally committed to not cooking. Use these apps for genuine emergencies, special occasions. The kind of night where the alternative is genuinely eating cereal for dinner, and you've already had that conversation with yourself twice this week. But if you are ordering delivery 3, 4, 5 times a week, you are spending somewhere between $400 and $600 a month on food that costs twice what it should. That is a car payment. That is a significant chunk of an investment contribution. For the convenience of not cooking on a Tuesday, cook more, order less. Your bank account will be dramatically different inside of 6 months. Here's a question. What can your current phone do? It can make calls. It can send messages. It has a camera that takes photos so detailed you can see the individual pores on someone's face. It runs every app you use. It streams video. It does your banking. It does your navigation. It does approximately 400 things that would have seemed like science fiction 20 years ago. So when Apple or Samsung sends you a notification that the new model is out, what exactly are you upgrading to? A slightly better camera. Maybe a marginally faster processor that you will never actually push to its limits doing the things normal humans do on phones. A new notch design, a different shade of titanium. And the price tag for this marginal improvement? $1,200. Sometimes $1,300 or $1,400 for the bigger storage version. And because that number is uncomfortable to look at directly, the phone companies have helpfully introduced their own version of the car dealership trick. Monthly installments. It's only $50 a month, added quietly to your phone bill, so quietly that after a while it just feels like part of what a phone bill costs. You upgrade again in a year. The cycle continues. You are essentially renting a phone forever, at premium prices, for features you genuinely cannot distinguish in daily use from the model you had 2 years ago. The camera on a 3-year-old flagship smartphone is excellent. The camera on a 2-year-old mid-range phone is excellent. The difference between those cameras and the newest model is something you would only notice if you printed the photos at poster size and stood 6 inches away comparing them. Keep your phone for 3 years, at minimum. If something breaks, get it repaired. Phone repair is dramatically cheaper than an upgrade and takes 45 minutes. If your battery degrades, replace the battery for $60 to $80 instead of buying a new phone. You will save somewhere between $300 and $500 a year, every year, without giving up anything that matters in your actual daily life. The best smartphone is the one you already own and paid off. Remember when Netflix was the hero of this story? It was maybe $8 a month. No commercials. Cancel anytime. The whole pitch was stop paying $150 a month for cable you don't watch. And that pitch was correct. Cable was a bloated, overpriced disaster, and cutting it made complete financial sense. We all felt very smart about it for a while. Then something happened. Every single media company on Earth watched Netflix print money and said, "We want that." So Disney launched a streaming service. Then HBO, then Paramount, then Peacock, then Apple, then Amazon bundled one into Prime, which you were already paying for, so it felt free, even though it absolutely wasn't. Then Discovery merged with HBO and raised the price. Then Netflix introduced ads and raised the price. Then Disney raised the price. Then everyone raised the price, and some of them introduced a cheaper ad-supported tier, so the price increase felt optional, even though they'd engineered the whole thing to push you toward paying more. And here we are. The average American household now subscribes to somewhere between 4 and 7 streaming services. Add them up, Netflix at 15 plus a month, Disney Plus at 14, Max at 16, Paramount at 8, Apple TV at 10, Peacock at 8. Spotify, which is technically different but lives in the same mental budget category, at 11. You are now spending somewhere between $60 and $90 a month on streaming. You have successfully recreated cable. Congratulations. You did it. You went all the way around. Except cable gave you live sports and local news. So in some ways, you actually went backwards. Here's what I want you to do. Open your bank or credit card statement right now. Not later. Right now in your head at least. And count every streaming subscription you're paying for. Then ask yourself one honest question about each one. Did I watch anything on this service in the last 30 days? Not do I intend to. Not there's a show I want to get to eventually. Did you actually open it and watch something in the last month? If the answer is no, that is not a streaming service. That is a monthly donation to a corporation that does not know your name. The model that actually works is rotating. You subscribe to 1 or 2 services at a time. You watch what you want to watch. You cancel. You pick up something else for a couple of months. Then you rotate back. Almost every streaming service will let you pause or cancel with 0 penalty, and most of them will send you a discount offer within 60 days of canceling because they want you back. The system rewards people who cancel. So cancel. Stop paying for the content you're planning to watch someday. Pay for what you're watching right now. That one habit change is worth $60 to $80 a month for most households. I need to talk about the refrigerator with a screen on it. Not because it's the biggest financial mistake on this list. It isn't. But because it represents something important about how we've been sold the idea that smart equals better, and that paying significantly more for a technology-enabled version of a thing that worked perfectly well without technology is somehow a smart financial decision. It isn't. It is the opposite of that. Here's the promise of the smart refrigerator. It has a touchscreen. It can show you what's inside without opening the door, using interior cameras you can check from your phone at the grocery store. It can play music. It can leave digital notes for your family. It connects to your home network. It might integrate with Alexa or Google. The Samsung Family Hub model, for reference, runs somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. Here's the reality of the smart refrigerator. It is a refrigerator with a tablet bolted to the door. The tablet runs a version of Android that the manufacturer stops updating after a couple of years, at which point the software becomes slow, buggy, and eventually non-functional. While the actual fridge part continues working fine. You now own a $3,000 refrigerator with a broken screen on the front that you can't remove and can't fix without a service call that costs several $100s. The compressor still works. The cooling still works. But the smart part, the thing you paid a premium for, is a useless black rectangle mocking you every time you go to get the milk. This isn't hypothetical. This is the documented, consistent experience of smart appliance ownership across refrigerators, ovens, dishwashers, and washing machines. The more software-dependent an appliance is, the more points of failure it has, and the shorter its functional lifespan. Your grandmother's washing machine from 1987 still works because it has a dial and a motor, and approximately 4 things that can go wrong with it. Your 2021 smart washer with the app, integration, and the custom cycle programming and the Wi-Fi connectivity has a touch panel that costs $400 to replace, and a motherboard that the manufacturer discontinued support for last year. Buy appliances for what they do. A refrigerator keeps food cold. A washing machine cleans clothes. A dishwasher washes dishes. Buy the most reliable version of that function you can afford from a brand with a strong repair track record. Look up repair frequency data before you buy. It's publicly available. And buy it without the screen, without the Wi-Fi, and without the monthly subscription that some of these manufacturers are now quietly introducing for features that used to come standard. The dumbest appliance in your house is probably the most reliable one. That is not an accident. The extended warranty pitch happens at a very specific moment. You've already made the decision to buy. The item is in the cart or on the counter or in your digital basket. You're mentally done, and then, right at the finish line, the salesperson or the checkout screen asks if you'd like to add protection for just a few more dollars a month. And it feels responsible. It feels like the adult thing to do. You just spent $800 on a laptop. Of course, you want to protect it. That makes sense. Here's what also makes sense for the retailer. Extended warranties are, by a significant margin, the highest profit item that most electronics retailers sell. Best Buy has publicly reported that its warranty and protection plan business, Geek Squad Protection, operates at dramatically higher margins than the actual electronics it sells. Consumer Reports has studied this extensively. The consistent finding is that for most electronics categories, the likelihood of a product failing within the extended warranty period, in a way that the warranty actually covers, and in a way where the repair cost exceeds what you paid for the warranty, is low enough that the warranty is statistically a bad deal for the consumer in the vast majority of cases. The stores know the math. They know exactly how often claims get filed, how often those claims get paid out, and what the net profit on every warranty sold looks like. They price the warranty to be profitable for them, which means by definition it is not optimally priced for you. There are two legitimate exceptions. 1. If you're buying something with a known reliability issue. Certain laptop brands have documented hinge problems. Certain TV manufacturers have panel issues that show up consistently in consumer data. Then targeted protection might make sense. 2. Some credit cards automatically extend the manufacturer's warranty by 1 year on purchases made with that card. Check your card benefits before you ever buy a warranty. You may already have coverage you paid nothing extra for. For everything else, decline the warranty. Take the money you would have spent on warranties over the course of a year. It adds up faster than you think. And put it in a dedicated electronics repair fund. Odds are extremely good that fund will grow quietly for years before you ever need it. And if you do need it, you'll have cash ready without having navigated a warranty claim process that seems specifically designed to make you give up before you get reimbursed. The warranty is not there to protect you. It is there to protect their quarterly earnings report. Buy now, pay later, Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, and about 15 other companies that launched in the last 5 years, is presented as a simple, interest-free convenience. You split a purchase into 4 equal payments over 6 weeks. No interest, no credit. Check. Just easy. Responsible even. You're budgeting. You're not putting it all on a credit card. You're spreading it out. That is the story. Here is what's actually happening. The first thing buy now, pay later does is remove the most important psychological speed bump in consumer spending. The moment where you see the full price and have to consciously decide to pay it. Behavioral economists have studied checkout friction for decades. That moment of seeing the total, entering your card details, and confirming a significant purchase is a natural pause point where a meaningful percentage of people change their mind. Buy now, pay later eliminates that pause. Instead of $240 today, you see $60 every 2 weeks. $60 feels fine. $60 is nothing. You click confirm before your brain has time to ask whether you actually needed the thing. Second thing, the zero interest claim is technically true for you. The retailer pays a fee to the buy now, pay later company for the privilege of offering it. That fee is typically between 2 and 8% of the transaction. And you can bet with complete confidence that retailers who offer these services have quietly built that cost into their pricing. Nothing is free. Someone is always paying. And in consumer finance, the person paying is almost always the consumer, just in a way that's difficult to trace directly. Third thing, these services make it extremely easy to have multiple open installment plans simultaneously. And because each one feels small, you can find yourself committed to 8 or 10 active payment schedules you're barely tracking. Each one individually seems manageable. Together, they've quietly consumed $300 or $400 of your monthly cash flow in tiny, staggered increments that don't feel like debt but functionally are exactly debt. Klarna's own data, which they released, and then several financial journalists noticed and wrote about, showed that users of their service spend significantly more than non-users. That is not a coincidence. That is the product working exactly as designed. The product is not a payment tool. The product is a spending accelerator. If you cannot afford something today, buy now. Pay later does not make you able to afford it. It just rearranges when you find out you couldn't. Use it for a genuine large purchase where the cash flow benefit is real and deliberate. Do not use it because a pair of shoes is only $40 every 2 weeks. Those are not the same situation, and the app is very invested in making sure you can't tell the difference. There's a theory I want to tell you about. It comes from a Terry Pratchett novel. Yes, we're quoting fantasy fiction in a personal finance video. Stay with me. And it is one of the most accurate descriptions of how poverty and near poverty actually work that I have ever come across. It's called the Sam Vimes Boots Theory of Socioeconomic Unfairness. The idea goes like this. A man named Sam Vimes notices that a wealthy man can buy a pair of good leather boots for $50. Those boots last 10 years. A poor man can only afford $10 boots. Those boots fall apart in a year. So over 10 years, the poor man spends $100 on boots, and his feet are still wet. The wealthy man spent $50, and his feet are dry the whole time. The cheaper option cost more. Not in a single transaction, in total, over time. And that dynamic plays out constantly, across dozens of categories, for people who are trying to save money by buying the less expensive version of things. Fast fashion is the clearest modern example. A $25 shirt from one of the ultra-fast fashion retailers, and you know which ones I mean, is not a shirt. It is a shirt-shaped object made of material so thin you can read through it, with stitching that starts separating after 6 washes, that will be unwearable within a year and in a landfill within 2. You buy 3 of them. You've spent $75, a well-made shirt from a reputable brand, not a luxury brand, just a brand that makes actual shirts. Costs $50 or $60 and lasts 5 to 8 years if you take basic care of it. The math is not complicated. The cheap version looks like savings at the register and is actually more expensive everywhere else. Furniture does the same thing at a much larger scale. The flat-pack dresser that costs $200 looks fine in the showroom photo. In your bedroom, assembled with a 37-step instruction manual and the one Allen key they include that bends halfway through. It wobbles slightly, and the drawer slides sound like a small animal in distress every time you open them. The laminate starts peeling in 18 months. In 3 years, it's in pieces. You spend another $200 replacing it. Meanwhile, a solid wood dresser from a secondhand shop or an estate sale costs maybe $250 to $300 and will outlive everyone in your household, including the dog. I'm not telling you to only buy expensive things. I'm telling you to buy fewer, better things. Think in cost per use. Think in years, not transactions. The goal is to buy something once, not to buy the cheap version 4 times. This one is going to save you money starting this week, not next month, not after some big financial overhaul. This week, at the grocery store. Walk down any aisle and look at the store brand product next to the name brand. Same aisle, same shelf, often literally side by side. The name brand has a colorful logo, a mascot with decades of brand equity behind it, and a price that is typically 30 to 40% higher. The store brand has simple packaging, a straightforward label, And in the vast majority of categories, the exact same product inside. Not similar, not comparable, the same. Many store-brand grocery products are manufactured in the same facilities as the name-brand versions. The recipe is identical or nearly identical. The ingredients list is the same. The difference is the label, the marketing budget that built the brand recognition, and the premium you pay for the psychological comfort of buying the thing you've seen advertised your entire life. Canned goods, pasta, rice, flour, sugar, frozen vegetables, olive oil, butter, spices, cleaning products, paper products. These are categories where the store brand is functionally indistinguishable from the name brand in use and meaningfully cheaper at the register. A family that consistently buys store brand across a standard grocery list saves somewhere between 20 and 40% on those items. On a typical household grocery budget, that is anywhere from $80 to $200 a month. Every month. For doing nothing differently, except ignoring the logo. Now, let's talk about the one that makes people the most uncomfortable. Over-the-counter medications. Advil and generic ibuprofen are the same drug, same molecule, same dosage, same mechanism of action. The FDA requires generic medications to have the same active ingredients in the same amounts as the brand name version. Advil charges you significantly more for the orange coating and 40 years of television commercials. Generic ibuprofen charges you for the ibuprofen. That is the only difference. This applies to acetaminophen. That's Tylenol. To antihistamines, that's Benadryl, Claritin, Zyrtec. To antacids, to sleep aids, to allergy medications, to basically every over-the-counter product that has a name brand and a generic sitting next to each other on the same shelf. Read the active ingredients. Compare the dosage. If they match, the generic is the same product. The extra money you're paying for the name brand is a voluntary brand loyalty tax that the pharmaceutical marketing industry has spent decades training you to pay happily. Stop paying it. We've saved the most expensive item for last. Not the most obvious. Some of the earlier ones were more obvious. But over a lifetime of investing, this one probably costs more than anything else on this list combined. And almost nobody realizes it's happening because the cost doesn't show up as a line item on a bill. It just quietly, invisibly, relentlessly compounds against you for decades. Here's how actively managed mutual funds work. A fund manager, smart person, a finance degree, probably an MBA, very nice suit, and their team of analysts research stocks, make decisions about what to buy and sell, and actively manage a portfolio with the goal of beating the market. For this service, they charge you a fee. The fee is called the expense ratio, and it typically runs somewhere between 1 and 2.5% of your invested assets per year. 1% doesn't sound like much. It sounds like basically nothing. Here's what it actually is. Say you have $100,000 invested. A 1% fee is $1,000 a year. But you're not paying it on the original $100,000. You're paying it on the growing balance. As your money compounds over 20 years, you're eventually paying 1% on $300,000, $400,000 more. The total drag on your retirement over a 30-year investing career from a seemingly modest fee difference, 1% versus 0.05%, can easily exceed $100,000. Sometimes significantly more depending on the balance. That is money that was supposed to compound for you. That is instead compounding for the fund manager. And here is the part that should make you genuinely angry. After all of that, after paying for the analyst team, the research, the active management, the guy in his very nice suit, the overwhelming majority of actively managed funds underperform a simple index fund over any 10-year period or longer. Not a few of them. Not the bad ones. The majority. This is not a controversial claim. It is one of the most thoroughly documented findings in all of financial research. Standard & Poor's publishes a report on this every year. Every year, the results are essentially the same. Most active managers, most of the time, do not beat the index. So you are paying significantly more for worse results, consistently, over decades. The alternative has been sitting in plain sight for 50 years. Index funds. A total market index fund or an S&P 500 index fund simply buys everything in the market. It doesn't try to pick winners. It doesn't employ analysts. It doesn't have a manager making judgment calls. And because of that, its fees are tiny. Vanguard's total market index fund has an expense ratio of around 0.03%. Not 1%, 0.03%. That is the difference between paying someone to try to beat the market and fail, and just owning the market. The boring, simple, set it and forget it index fund strategy has made more ordinary people genuinely wealthy than almost any other approach in the history of personal finance. Not because it's exciting, because it's cheap, it works, and it gets out of its own way. Stop paying for someone to underperform the market. Buy the market. Go live your life. 10 things. All of them common. All of them normalized. All of them quietly, consistently transferring money from your pocket to someone else's. A bank, a delivery app, a fund manager, a retailer, a streaming platform that you forgot you subscribed to 18 months ago. The theme running through all of this isn't that spending is bad. It's that unconscious spending is expensive. The car loan that felt affordable because the monthly payment sounded fine. The delivery app that felt reasonable because it was just one Tuesday night. The fund that felt responsible because someone professional was managing it. None of it felt like a mistake in the moment. That's the whole design. These things are built to feel normal, feel smart, feel inevitable, right up until you do the math and realize how much they've actually cost you over time. You now have the math. And here's the thing I want to leave you with. Keeping your money is a skill. It is not about deprivation. It is not about clipping coupons and never enjoying anything. It is about knowing when you're being sold something that benefits the seller a lot more than it benefits you, and choosing differently. That skill, applied consistently over 10 or 15 years, is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not an exaggeration. Actual, documented, compounding hundreds of thousands of dollars. You earned your money. It should work for you, not for the bank, not for the fund manager, not for the delivery app that charged you a service fee to bring you a burger that got cold on the way over. Keep it, grow it, protect it. One last thing. If something in this video hit home, if one of these 10 things made you think about a habit you've got, a subscription you forgot about, or a purchase you're currently reconsidering, I'd genuinely appreciate it if you hit the like button. It's a small thing on your end, but it makes a real difference in terms of who this video reaches. There are a lot of people out there getting quietly drained by one or more things on this list, and they're not going to find this video unless the algorithm decides it's worth showing to them. The like button is how you tell the algorithm that. If you're not subscribed yet and this is the kind of straight-talking, no-hype financial content you want more of, subscribe. We do this regularly. Real numbers, real talk, no agenda other than helping regular people hold on to more of what they've worked hard to earn. And if there's something I missed, something that you think belongs on this list, something that used to be a good deal and isn't anymore, drop it in the comments. I read them. Some of the best ideas for future videos have come from people who watched one of these and said, "What about?" followed by something I hadn't thought of. Take care of yourselves. Watch your money. I'll see you in the next one.